Have you ever noticed how people's attitudes toward you seem to shift as you get older? Maybe you felt that friends who were once close have slowly drifted away, and family members don't seem as patient or understanding as they used to be. Even strangers might appear less friendly or seem to overlook you entirely. It's a painful and frustrating experience, feeling like you're being pushed aside or overlooked, especially when you know deep down that you still have so much wisdom, love, and experience to share. It can feel as though the world is moving on without you, and that realization can be both confusing and hurtful. But what if I told you that some of these changes in how people treat you aren't entirely about them? What if certain habits, behaviors, or attitudes you've developed over the years are unintentionally creating distance between you and the people you care about? It's a hard pill to swallow, but the truth is, we all have patterns we may not even realize are affecting our relationships. The good news is that once you recognize these subtle habits, you can take steps to change them and reconnect with others. You can strengthen your relationships, regain that sense of closeness, and continue being someone others genuinely enjoy being around. In this video, we're going to talk about 6 specific things that can cause people to distance themselves or even start resenting you after the age of 70. These are not dramatic or obvious behaviors, but rather subtle habits that, over time, can create tension, misunderstandings, or even resentment. By becoming aware of these patterns, you'll have the power to make positive changes that can completely transform your relationships. It's not about changing who you are or becoming someone you're not. It's about making sure the best version of yourself shines through, so people can appreciate the warmth, wisdom, and strength you truly have. So stay with me until the end of this video. Understanding these 6 things could make all the difference in how people perceive you, how they interact with you, and how much love, respect, and connection you continue to experience as you age. This is about empowering yourself to stay vibrant and deeply connected to the people who matter most. Let's dive in and explore these important insights together. You might be surprised by what you learn. Number 1, becoming too negative about everything. One of the quickest ways to unintentionally push people away is by falling into the habit of constant negativity. It's easy to understand why this happens. Life can be challenging, and by the time you reach your 70s, you've likely faced your fair share of difficulties. Health issues, financial worries, disappointments with family, frustrations with how society has changed. These struggles are very real and deserve to be acknowledged. It's only natural to want to talk about what's been weighing on your mind, and it's perfectly okay to share your concerns. However, the problem arises when every conversation becomes focused on what's wrong. When conversations are filled with complaints, criticism, and negativity, it can unknowingly create a heavy atmosphere. Over time, people may begin to associate your presence with a frustration or discomfort rather than warmth or joy. This doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid, far from it, but constantly focusing on the negative can make others feel drained or even helpless. If your children visit and the conversation quickly turns into a long list of what's wrong with the world, or if a friendly chat with a neighbor becomes a session about how much things have gone downhill, it's easy for others to feel overwhelmed. They may start to feel like talking to you leaves them in a worse mood, even if they care deeply about you. And while nobody expects you to be cheerful all the time, it's important to remember that moods can be contagious. If your words often reflect negativity, the people around you may feel weighed down too. Imagine this from the other side. Think about how it feels to spend time with someone who only talks about what's wrong. It can be emotionally exhausting, right? The truth is, people want to enjoy their interactions and connect on a deeper level. They want to feel uplifted, encouraged, or even just pleasantly distracted. It's not about pretending life is perfect or ignoring real issues, but rather about finding a healthy balance. Sharing your frustrations is fine, but mixing those moments with positive or neutral topics can make your conversations more enjoyable for everyone involved. One way to make a positive shift is by becoming more mindful of the energy you bring into conversations. The next time you catch yourself about to lead with a complaint or a criticism, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this really how I want to start this conversation? Try steering the discussion towards something more uplifting or lighthearted. Even a small change, like sharing a funny story, mentioning an interesting fact, or giving a compliment, can set a different tone. This doesn't mean you have to pretend everything is wonderful, but it's about recognizing the power of balance. A moment of gratitude or curiosity can truly brighten the mood and create a better connection. The bottom line is, it's not that people avoid you because they don't care. They may simply avoid conversations that leave them feeling worse. Sometimes, even a small shift in perspective can make a huge difference. Being aware of how your words impact others can help ensure that when people leave a conversation with you, they feel lighter, happier, and more connected, not exhausted or weighed down. A little self-awareness and a willingness to bring positivity into your conversations can go a long way toward nurturing the relationships that matter most. Number 2, giving unwanted advice or criticism. As we grow older, we naturally accumulate a wealth of knowledge and life experience. We've seen trends come and go, watched others make mistakes, and learned countless lessons, often the hard way. It's only natural to want to share this wisdom, especially when we genuinely care about the people around us. We want to protect our loved ones from making the same mistakes we did, or help them navigate challenges more smoothly. But here's where things can get complicated. Offering advice when it's not asked for can often be seen as criticism, rather than the helpful guidance we intend it to be. This is especially true when it comes to younger family members. You might see your adult children or grandchildren making choices that seem unwise or risky. It could be about how they handle money, raise their kids, or even how they choose to live their lives. It's easy to feel the urge to step in and share what you've learned, hoping to spare them from regrets. However, even when your intentions are pure and rooted in love, unsolicited advice often feels like judgment. Instead of hearing your concern, they may feel criticized, as if their choices aren't good enough, or as if they're constantly being corrected. Over time, this can create tension, leading your loved ones to avoid sharing parts of their lives with you, or even keeping their distance altogether. It's not just family relationships that can be affected by this dynamic. Friendships can suffer too. You might think you're being helpful when you suggest a friend should eat healthier, stop spending so much, or be more active. But even well-meaning advice can come off as a lecture if it's not invited. The person on the receiving end may feel attacked, judged, or as if they're being told they aren't living their life correctly. When conversations repeatedly become sessions of correction and critique, even the closest of friends can start to pull away. It's not that they don't appreciate your care. It's just that nobody enjoys feeling like they're constantly being told what to do. So, how can you approach these situations in a way that nurtures your relationships instead of pushing people away? The key is to wait until your advice is genuinely wanted. If someone values your opinion and wants your input, they will ask for it. If they don't, it's often best to give them the space to figure things out on their own. This doesn't mean you can never share your thoughts or offer guidance. It simply means doing so in a way that respects their independence. Instead of jumping in with a correction, try asking first. A simple shift in approach can make a huge difference. For instance, rather than saying, "You shouldn't be eating that," you could try, "Are you interested in some tips I've learned about healthy eating?" If they say yes, you've been invited to share your knowledge. If they say no, respect their choice and let it go. This approach shows that you're supportive and considerate of their autonomy, making it easier for others to listen when you do have something valuable to share. The bottom line is that people don't avoid advice because they don't care. They avoid it because they don't want to feel judged or lectured. When you offer guidance in a way that respects their choices, you'll become a trusted voice instead of a source of frustration. You'll create a space where others feel safe to ask for your wisdom when they need it. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, I'd love to know. Please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you never miss our videos. Your support means so much to us and helps us continue creating content that informs, inspires, and makes a difference. Now let's keep going. Number 3, refusing to adapt to change is a natural part of life, and the world around us is always evolving, whether we like it or not. However, one of the biggest challenges many people face as they grow older is resisting these changes instead of adapting to them. It's completely understandable. After all, you've lived through decades filled with traditions, values, and ways of doing things that are now fading away or being replaced. It can feel unsettling to see the world transform so drastically. And it's easy to feel like the best days are behind us. But when you constantly hold on to the past and refuse to accept the present, it can make conversations with you feel tiring instead of enjoyable. This resistance to change can show up in different ways. Maybe whenever a younger person shares something they're excited about, like a new trend, hobby, or form of entertainment, you respond by insisting that things were better back in the good old days. It can feel like your memories and experiences are being overlooked or forgotten. But when this becomes a pattern, younger people may feel dismissed or unappreciated. Or perhaps modern technology feels overwhelming and you find yourself saying things like, "I don't need that," or "Back in my day, we did things differently." It's easy to brush off smartphones, social media, and other gadgets as unnecessary or even annoying, but it's important to remember that for many people, especially the younger generations, technology is a huge part of their daily lives and how they stay connected. Rejecting these changes can make it difficult for loved ones to include you in their world. Think about it. Your grandkids might prefer texting over talking on the phone. Your friends might be making plans on social media instead of calling around, and family updates may be shared in group chats instead of in person. If you choose not to engage with these new ways of connecting, it's not that people don't want to talk to you. It's just that it becomes harder to reach you. Over time, this can create a sense of isolation, not because people don't care, but because they don't know how to keep you involved. The same goes for social norms and values. Society changes over time, and what was once considered proper or acceptable might not be the same today. It can feel confusing or frustrating, But getting upset or dismissing these shifts often pushes people away instead of bringing them closer. It's important to remember that change is inevitable, and it's happening whether we resist it or not. When every conversation feels like a debate about how much better things used to be, people may start avoiding those conversations altogether. But adapting to change doesn't mean you have to love or accept everything new without question. You don't need to dive headfirst into every trend or embrace every new idea, but a willingness to listen, learn, and try new things can make a huge difference. Instead of saying, "That's stupid, I don't get it," try saying, "That's interesting, tell me more about it." This approach shows curiosity instead of dismissal, and it keeps your relationships strong. It keeps conversations lively and interesting, even if you don't end up agreeing. The truth is, people don't expect you to love every change. They just appreciate it when you're open-minded and willing to learn. Staying curious and adaptable not only helps you stay connected to the world around you, but also keeps your mind sharp. When you approach new things with an open heart and a sense of curiosity, you invite others to share more of their lives with you. The more you engage, the stronger your relationships become, and the less isolated you'll feel. So, let's talk about something else that can really cause resentment. Expecting too much from others without giving back. Stay tuned, because understanding this next point can truly transform your relationships for the better. Number 4, expecting too much from others without giving back. As we go through life, one of the most important things we can do is nurture our relationships with family, friends, and those around us. However, a common issue that can lead to resentment and distance in relationships is when one person constantly expects from others without offering much in return. This can be an easy trap to fall into, especially as we grow older and our needs change. We might not even realize it's happening, but it can gradually create a sense of imbalance and frustration. Imagine a situation where you expect your children or grandchildren to call you first, visit you regularly, or help you out with errands and chores. It might feel natural to you. After all, families should care for one another. But if these visits or calls are always on your terms, and you rarely express appreciation or show interest in their lives, it can slowly become exhausting for them. They may feel like they are just fulfilling an obligation rather than enjoying meaningful moments with you. The same thing can happen in friendships. You might often lean on a friend for emotional support, venting about your problems and seeking comfort, but rarely take the time to ask how they're doing or to be there for them when they need someone. Or perhaps you assume that younger family members should always drop what they're doing to help you because that's what family does. While it's true that families and friends are there to support each other, relationships thrive on mutual respect, appreciation, and balance. People are usually happy to help, but when they feel like their kindness is expected or taken for granted, it can quickly turn from love to resentment. The truth is, people want to feel valued, not used. It's easy to feel abandoned or unloved when others start pulling away. But sometimes the root of the problem is unrealistic expectations that go unnoticed. This doesn't mean you should never ask for help or support, far from it. But it's essential to remember that relationships are a two-way street. Even as we grow older, we still have something to give. A kind word, a sincere thank you, or a genuine interest in others' lives can mean so much. Small acts of appreciation, like remembering a friend's birthday, sending a thoughtful message, or simply listening when someone shares their struggles, can strengthen bonds. and make others feel valued. When people feel respected and appreciated, they're far more likely to be there for you, not out of obligation, but out of love. The bottom line is this: people are more than willing to be supportive and caring when they feel respected, valued, and appreciated. When the relationship feels genuine and reciprocal, it thrives. On the other hand, when people feel like they are just fulfilling an obligation, when their efforts go unacknowledged or unappreciated, they may slowly drift away. A little effort to show gratitude and give back, even in small ways, can make a huge difference in keeping your relationships strong and meaningful. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please comment the number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires you. Now let's move forward to the next crucial insight that can truly deepen your relationships and create stronger bonds with those you care about. Number 5, bringing up the past. Too often memories are truly precious. They hold the stories of our lives, capturing moments of love, joy, hardship, and lessons learned. They shape who we are and remind us of the people, places, and experiences that have mattered most to us. It's only natural to want to share these memories, especially as we get older. There's a sense of comfort in looking back on the past, reliving cherished moments, and recounting the experiences that made us who we are today. It feels good to tell stories of the good old days, to reflect on how things used to be, and to pass on wisdom from those times. However, a common mistake that many people unknowingly make is dwelling too much on the past, so much so that it can become a barrier in their relationships with others. This often happens when conversations repeatedly drift back to the same stories, the same events, or constant comparisons to how things used to be. It's easy to fall into this pattern, especially when reminiscing brings comfort and familiarity. But when every conversation seems to revolve around the past, it can make others feel like you're not truly present with them. Over time, people may feel disconnected or uninterested if it seems like you're always living in memories instead of engaging with the present moment. Imagine a younger person excitedly sharing a story about their life. Maybe it's about a new job, a recent vacation, or a funny experience with friends. If your response is always something like, "Back in my day, things were different," or "You don't know what it was really like. We had it much tougher," it can come across as dismissive. It may seem like you're undermining their experiences or that you can't relate to their challenges and joys. When people feel like they're being compared to the past or like their experiences aren't valid, they may start to feel frustrated or even judged. It's not just younger people who might feel this way. Even friends your own age could become weary if every conversation turns into a trip down memory lane. Repeating the same stories can make interactions feel predictable and unengaging. Eventually, people might start avoiding deeper conversations altogether, unsure of how to connect if the focus always shifts back to what once was. The beautiful stories of the past deserve to be shared, but when they overshadow the present, it can create a sense of distance. What can you do to avoid this? The key is balance. It's wonderful to share stories from the past. After all, they're part of who you are. But it's equally important to be present and engage with what's happening now. Instead of always telling stories, make a habit of asking questions and showing interest in other people's lives. Be curious about their experiences, listen actively, and create space for them to share what's important to them. When you do share a memory, consider if the moment calls for it. Sometimes it's more meaningful to ask, "How did that make you feel?" or "What are you most excited about right now?" than to launch into a familiar story. Memories are meant to be cherished, not used to replace the present. Those around you want to connect with who you are today, not just who you were years ago. By embracing new experiences, staying curious, and focusing on the present, you keep your relationships strong and conversations engaging. This approach deepens your bonds with others and helps you continue to grow and learn no matter your age. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment the number 5 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support truly makes a difference and helps us keep creating content that inspires and informs you. Now let's dive into the next important insight, one that often causes tension and misunderstandings: not respecting boundaries and personal space. Number 6, not respecting boundaries and personal space. As we go through life, our relationships naturally change and evolve. The bond we share with family, friends, and even neighbors can grow deeper with time. However, one important truth remains constant, regardless of our age. Every person needs their personal space and boundaries to be respected. This understanding is key to maintaining healthy and meaningful connections. Yet it's something many people unintentionally overlook, especially as they get older. It's not uncommon for older individuals to feel that their opinions, presence, or needs should always come first simply because they've lived longer and gained more life experience. This belief can subtly manifest in everyday interactions, often without realizing the impact it has on others. For instance, you might expect family members to answer your calls right away every single time, and when they don't, it can feel hurtful, like you're being ignored or brushed aside. You might think, "I've always been there for them, so why aren't they making me a priority now?" But the reality is that everyone has responsibilities, busy schedules, and moments when they simply can't respond immediately. Another way this tendency can show up is when you drop by someone's house unannounced, expecting a warm welcome every time. While your intentions might be good, wanting to share company, catch up, or simply not feel lonely, it can be unsettling for others who may not be prepared for a visit. Unplanned drop-ins can disrupt their routines, and even if they appreciate your company, they may feel pressured to entertain you rather than attend to their own needs. This can create feelings of discomfort and, over time, may lead them to become distant. Respecting boundaries also means acknowledging that people have a right to privacy. Sometimes, without realizing it, older individuals may ask deeply personal questions or push for details about someone's life, questions about relationships, finances, or private decisions, out of concern or curiosity. However, even close family members may feel uncomfortable if it feels like their personal matters are being scrutinized or judged. When people feel their privacy isn't respected, they may begin to share less, keeping conversations surface level to protect themselves from intrusion. Emotional boundaries are just as important. It's natural to want to lean on loved ones when you're struggling, feeling lonely, or dealing with grief. Talking about your feelings is healthy and necessary, but if you often share your worries and frustrations with the same person without considering their emotional capacity, it can become overwhelming. Over time, they may start avoiding conversations or keeping their distance. not because they don't care, but because they feel drained. Everyone carries their own burdens, and it's important to be mindful of this. Supporting one another goes both ways. And just as you need to be heard, others need space to express their own feelings too. So, how can you maintain strong, respectful relationships? It starts with mindfulness. Notice when someone seems hesitant to talk or engage. This could be a sign that they need some space. Consider if you're reaching out too often or demanding too much attention without recognizing their own responsibilities. And when someone sets a boundary, whether it's about visits, conversations, or personal matters, respect it. Boundaries aren't walls meant to shut you out. They're ways to ensure healthy, balanced relationships where everyone feels comfortable. Ultimately, the foundation of any strong relationship is mutual respect. When people feel like their boundaries are acknowledged and valued, they're far more likely to stay connected, open, and engaged. Honoring someone's space doesn't mean you're unimportant. It shows that you care about their comfort and well-being. This creates an environment where everyone can be themselves and connect freely, where relationships are built on understanding, not obligation. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment the number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Your support helps us continue to create content that informs, inspires, and enriches your life. Stay tuned because there's much more to come. Final thoughts. As we grow older, it's natural to worry about losing the people we care about. But getting older doesn't have to mean losing connections. Sometimes, without even realizing it, certain habits and behaviors can push others away. The comforting truth is that once you recognize these habits, you have the power to make positive changes that bring people closer to you instead of creating distance. Throughout this video, we've talked about the importance of being aware of habits that can unintentionally create barriers in relationships. Things like focusing too much on negativity, giving advice when it isn't wanted, resisting change, expecting too much from others, dwelling too much on the past, and not respecting personal boundaries. These behaviors may seem harmless at first, but over time, they can build up and lead to frustration, discomfort, and even resentment in relationships. However, the moment you realize these patterns, you open the door to change. Small adjustments can make a big difference, helping you strengthen connections instead of unintentionally driving people away. The most important thing to remember is that relationships are built on respect, appreciation, and balance. People naturally want to spend time with those who make them feel valued, understood, and appreciated. It doesn't matter how old you are. What truly matters is how you make others feel when they're around you. By being thoughtful, supportive, and genuinely interested in others' lives, you can create bonds that grow even stronger with time. The power to nurture meaningful relationships lies in your hands, no matter your age. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Out of all the points we've discussed today, which one resonated with you the most? Have you ever felt someone pulling away from you and after watching this video, realized why that might have happened? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experiences and insights could really help others who might be going through similar challenges. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd love for you to take a moment and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are incredibly important to us, and hearing from you gives us the motivation and encouragement to keep creating content that truly matters. If you enjoyed this video, and found it helpful, please take a second to like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue making videos that inform, inspire, and uplift you. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next video.